The Doge Pound is a fascinating NFT project. It's got a white paper, it's got a detailed roadmap, it's also got an amazing ecosystem that they're constantly evolving. Let's do a deep dive and check it out. Real quick, if you could like up the video, it'll really help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, I've got chapters so you can fast forward to the sections that you want to see so you can navigate the video better. Also, if you hate gas fees, hit the subscribe button. If you love gas fees, don't hit subscribe. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial planner. Please do your own research before jumping into the NFT space. It can be quite volatile. Now, jumping into the Doge Pound, when you land on their website, up the top here, you can see we've got the dog house, which you've got the original NFTs, the doggies, and then you've got the puppies that can be given away, well, essentially claimed by the people that own the dogs. Then we've got breeding, you've got the white paper, and then you've got the feeding. Breeding is currently coming soon, and essentially the breeding is you've got male and females, and you can breed them to actually make more dogs. You've got the feeding, which is coming soon, but then you've also got the white paper. Now, this is well worth the read. It's very detailed, and they go into what they actually want to do with the Doge Pound, and it's a very refreshing look because it's well thought out, it's well put together, and they're really thinking about where they want to take the project, and they're not just putting down a little roadmap or a little idea down on a single web page. They've actually put it into a document they can read, and it really adds weight and authenticity to the project. Now, real quick, I do need to thank Exit the Matrix and Fungus. They have requested this video. It was, can you do a deep dive on the Doge Pound? And also love Doge Pound. So thanks, guys. If there's any NFTs that you'd love me to cover, any project you want me to cover, drop a comment below and I will get to them. Anyway, back to the video. Now, scrolling down the website, it is a 10,000 art piece project. This isn't your regular 10,000 profile picture project because, as I said, they're doing the drops with the puppies and they're also going to be incorporating breeding. So it is quite detailed. So don't look at it and think of it as a 10,000 profile picture project. Now, jumping over onto their Twitter, we can see here that they've got 62,000 followers. The 62,000 followers is really, really good. But what I really like is that when you jump in and have a look, they're tweeting out. So 6 hours ago, 9 hours ago, 19 hours ago, that was a retweet. So you can see that they're very active 16 hours ago. Now, this is really good because it shows that they just haven't let the project go. And it's been out for more than 2 months. So this really shows that they are dedicated to this project and moving it forward. Jumping over onto their Discord, what we can see here is they've got 22,000 members. So between the Twitter and the Discord, a very strong, healthy community. Now, jumping over onto Opensea, we can see that the floor is 1.67. And with the 10,000 items, we've got 4,200 owners. And then here is what some of the artwork looks like. Now, I think the artwork's kind of cool, but what I really like is their extended roadmap and plan when it comes to the Doge Pound. Now let's jump into the good stuff and have a look at the statistics. The Doge Pound deployed 72 days ago. Scrolling down, we can have a look at the price. So when it started, we started at the 1.3 and it kind of floated up and down between 1.3 and 1.6. It was floating around. And then at the end of August to the start of September, huge volume and huge average price. Now, this was essentially across the board. So if you look at all of the blue chips, they're all kind of following this pattern. And then afterwards, it dips down. Now, this isn't bad because this is what the entire market did, and it's actually mimicking the entire market. So this shouldn't be looked on as a bad thing. This is currently what the market had done. Then it's slowly climbing up, and we're kind of sitting at around that 1.6, 1.7. Now, when we actually get to the price range where we look at the max, minimum, and average, where it gets really exciting is the fact that the average is sitting there, it's just bouncing up and down, but what we're slowly starting to get is a convergence on price, which makes me feel like we're going to be hitting more of a stable number, and we're going to end up with a very stable price, because as you can see, there's been some very high prices, very low prices, very erratic, especially around those high volume areas, but we're starting to get a convergence. And when you get to the convergence, the way that I like to look at it is the people that have sold low, that needed to liquidate, they're out, and the people that bought in low are holding, and the people that have bought in really high and bought these rare ones and the ones that they want have bought and they're holding. So we're getting a really solid group of holders, which should then help stabilize that price. Scrolling down, what we can see here by the individual transactions, we'll drop the extreme outliers. We can see that there's been some notable buys at the start, but we can see here the pump up, and then this white line is the average price as it's gone through. And then the transactions and buys, and this is nice to see because it shows that it actually didn't start off with crazy hype and it's actually built up, and that was that pump on the 31st of August and then back down and that pump here. The reason that this is nice is it wasn't a project that was built all on hype, did a drop, and then that's it. They've actually been something that's kind of built it from the ground up, and then that's when the volume and unique buys have come in, which is really nice to see. So when it comes to the top balances, we can see that there are some big heavy hitters and some whales in this project. The top holder has 646. We've then got JRNY Crypto, he's got almost 200. And we then get down to the 50s. So the top holder, 650. The second is almost 200, and then almost a quarter of the holdings later is when people start coming in. So it shows that the top end is very, very stacked in terms of their holdings at this current point in time. And looking at the top balances over time, we can see here that the very top balance has sold down in two kind of steps. This would usually look bad, but the fact that the top holder had 1200 and he's still holding 650, it's not too crazy that he would liquidate some of his holdings because he's still holding a large bag. It's not like the top balances don't see value in this project and don't see it going any further. They just had a really, really big bag and wanted to kind of offload it, which is actually good because it ended up giving more to the community. And then some of the other top holders, it's sitting quite flat, which is not bad to see. And then when it comes to the smart money, we can't really take too much away from this chart because there aren't too many data points and it is quite choppy and it does go up and down a little bit. And now when we get over to the unique addresses, we can actually see here that this is why it's not bad that the top holder was liquidating some of his positions. We can see here that it's just a steady growth and it kind of steps up, steps up. This is very good to see. It shows that there's more people getting into this project over time, and more people into a project builds up that community stronger, and it's nice to see. It's not just in the hands of a few, it's actually getting into the hands of a lot of people. And then when it comes to the people only holding one, we can see that there was a drop here, which means that that was the lowest point. And then from here, there have been more people holding one. So the way that I look at this chart and break this chart down is that someone here that has two has sold one, and then another person's picked up one. And then a person that has three has maybe sold two and then given those to another two people. And then we can see a steady climb. So this climb shows that there's more people holding one, and that makes sense because there was a larger distribution of them in the beginning with the larger holders, and they're kind of offloading, and it means that more people are coming in. So this is a very good sign in relation to the unique addresses, which is good to see. Now the profit leaderboard's always a fun one to look at, and we can see here that the very top 388, second 250, then we end up with 193. Now what's really crazy when you dive into this chart is that you think 388 ETH is a huge profit, but the margin is only 286%. So he's pretty much 3x'd there. Then we get the 1000s, the 2000s, the 3000s, but overall there's a very large distribution of the profits to the top holders, but it would make sense seeing that the top holder did actually have 1200 of the Doges before he ended up sort of selling off and settling around that 650 mark, which he's at now. Now this last page are the buying addresses. There's not much we can take away from here, but it's still nice to see for those of you that are curious. As the price has gone up, the top 5 buys, this is where they've kind of bought in. Sitting at around that 1.4, 1.5 mark, actually a little bit over to up to 1.6. So this means that if they were to kind of at least sort of 2x their buys, we'd be looking at a floor of close to sort of over 2.2, 2.4 would be nice. Now that isn't to say that that's where they'd be selling it, but if you have a look at when they were buying it, and then you got to think about what kind of profit they would make, and that's how you can kind of read this chart and try to determine where they may be selling to kind of start to liquidate their positions and actually take some profit. And then scrolling down to the recent transactions, we can see here that it is still quite active. 13 minutes ago, 24 minutes ago, an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. Now this is quite good because at the moment I'm recording this at 8 p.m. in Australia, which is actually 6 a.m. in New York. So it means that the Americans are currently sleeping at the moment. So that's why the volume would be low, with some transactions that are still happening overnight, it shows that there are people elsewhere in the world that are buying or people that are staying up quite late. So overall, what do I think of the Doge Pound? When it comes to the art, I like the art. It's not my favorite, but it's still quite cool. But what I really do like is the fact that they've got a very detailed white paper. They know what they want to do. They know the ecosystem they want to build, and they've got a very, very good plan and a thought out idea of how they want to take this project into the future and not just turn it into a profile picture project, but actually turn it into a brand that they can build and move forward, which is really nice to see. And when it comes down to the big people in the NFT space, they're invested in this. So this is a project that they believe has very, very long-term value. So would I buy in? Yes, I would buy in if I was liquid enough to easily afford the 1.6, 1.7 floor. But there are drops coming out and there's things that I would like to do with my capital that I don't want to tie up into one particular project. But if I had more funds, then I actually would. This is a project that I really like the look of and I like where they're going with it. So anyway, I hope you got value out of this project. If you did, consider hitting the subscribe button. It really would mean a lot to me. If there are any projects that you'd like me to check out, drop a comment below with what you'd like me to do a deep dive in and I'll jump in and do it. Like I said, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research before investing in the NFT space. And until next time, that's your boy, NFT Nate, out.